Today we're going to be making spooky word reference. As a reminder, a word referent is a word or a phrase that can be used in place of a topic word so that you don't have to repeat the word all the time. For example, if you're writing an essay on dogs, you don't want to repeat the word dogs in every single sentence. Word referents are words that stand for other words. This technique teases your reader by holding back some piece of critical information, and they just read on to discover the missing piece. So here's an example. Daniel froze. It loomed over him, at least 7 feet of matted brown fur. It snarled and swatted at him with powerful claws. Daniel stared back, horrified at its yellow teeth visible behind its curled snout. The beast came closer to him, and Daniel backed up, afraid to turn his back for a second. You notice how we're not naming it word for word. You are having to figure out what it is. The beast is a word referent because we don't want to reveal yet that it's a werewolf. We want you to have to figure it out. So, listen to this paragraph about leprechauns. In this paragraph, we didn't use any word reference. I stared at the leprechaun in the clearing. The leprechaun was no more than 2 feet tall and wore a green suit and small gold shoes with big black buckles. On his head, the leprechaun wore a green velvet top hat. A silly laugh escaped from the leprechaun's mouth, which brought a smile to my face. Oh my gosh, that is so repetitive. Like, leprechaun doesn't sound like a word anymore. What we can do is we can go ahead and we can create word reference. So to create a word referent for leprechaun, we're going to make a list of adjectives. Remember, adjectives are describing words. Adjectives that can describe a leprechaun, and a list of nouns that can describe a leprechaun. Then we put them together in order to make our word reference. So the magical being, the little hider, the rainbow man, the red-haired elf, the mischievous legend. See how much better this new paragraph is? I stared at the leprechaun in the clearing. The red-haired jokester was no more than 2 feet tall and wore a green suit and small gold shoes with big black buckles. On his head, the tricky Irish legend wore a green velvet top hat. A silly laugh escaped from the little man's mouth, which brought a smile to my face. That sounds so much better because I'm not saying the word leprechaun over and over and over. Here's some examples from past students. If we're talking about snowman, then we could say a unique snow-packed individual or a cold crystal figure. So, are you ready? Let's make some spooky Halloween word reference. You need to come up with at least 2 word reference for each of the words in this video. Pause the video as you come up with your list of adjectives and nouns. When you're ready to move on, unpause the video. So our first word is haunted house. Haunted house. Pause the video to come up with your 2 word reference. Our second word is bat. Pause the video to come up with your 2 word reference. Our next word is witch. Pause the video to come up with your 2 word reference. Our next word is vampire. Pause the video to come up with your 2 word reference. Our next word is mummy. Pause the video to come up with your 2 word reference. Our next word is werewolf. Pause the video to come up with your 2-word reference. Our next word is zombie. Pause the video to come up with your 2-word reference. Our next word is alien. Pause the video to come up with your 2-word reference.